Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking to declare the seat of the governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, and his deputy, Ivara Esu, vacant, following their defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Ayade and his deputy, Ivara Esu, defected in May 2021 from the APC to the PDP, citing the allure of working with President Muhammadu Buhari. Justice Taiwo Taiwo held that the duo could only be removed through statutory procedures stipulated in sections 180, 188, and 189 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
How do I react? Yes. That my client, Governor Ben Ayade, and the deputy won the case. How do I react? Let me show you. I thank God, Almighty God, the creator of heaven and earth. I thank him for his awesomeness. I thank him for being the Lord of Lords and the God of gods. I salute him in his fullness and royal majesty. I greet him with full adoration and glory. I give him the entire victory. It is not mine, it is his. He merely used me as a pencil to write. May God's name be eternally praised, now and forever and ever. Amen. The Supreme Court had decided in that article's case that defection by president or vice president, and of course by parity, governor and deputy governor, is not one of the grounds permitted by the Constitution to remove a governor who has been sworn in, who has taken the oath of office and oath of allegiance, as held by the same Supreme Court in Marwa versus Nyako. He said, for you to know how a governor or deputy president or vice president can be removed, you must go back to the Constitution, sections 180, 188, and 189. What are these provisions? A governor's seat is removed or vanishes. 1, if he resigns from office voluntarily. 2, if he dies in office. 3, if his tenure expires by a fraction of time after 4 years. He said 4, any other process recognized by this Constitution, and that process can be found in sections 188 and 189. Section 188, when a governor is impeached. 189, when he suffers incapacity in such a way that maybe he has become lunatic or insane, that he can no longer perform the functions of his office. He said these are the only grounds.
For more on the verdict of Justice Taiwo Taiwo and the victory for the governor, we're now being joined by Professor Ben Ayade, Governor of Cross River State. Governor Ayade, thank you for joining us on the morning show here on the Arise News channel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, let me ask you, how sweet is this victory? Because I understand that there was a lot of celebration, even if the court of Justice Taiwo Taiwo has just followed the principle of stare decisis. The Court of Appeal, Enugu Division, in the case involving Governor David Umahi, had taken a position which had become the position of the law, and simply he just followed more or less the same line about Section 40 of the Constitution as upheld in AG Federation versus Atiku Abubakar. But how sweet is this victory for you?
Well, the victory is not really sweet. It's victory that belongs absolutely to God. Why did I say it's not really sweet? I just sympathize with this country. I sympathize with the country because at the heat of my passion trying to finish strong, and you have distraction on issues that are settled law in the Constitution. How would one have imagined that you go differently? The doctrine of stare decisis is well established and a settled law. You cannot deviate from what the superior court of the land, the Supreme Court, have decided. exactly like that of Attorney General of the Federation versus Atiku. It's settled law. The Supreme Court said that votes belong to an individual who has blood and life. Party is only an agent. It's a vehicle. Indeed, if that is not true, the case of Bayelsa would have celebrated the consistency of the Supreme Court, where the deputy governor candidate of APC that won the election was disqualified. If the votes belong to the party, they would simply have asked APC to find an alternative deputy governor to replace the deputy governor. But indeed, they gave the seat to PDP because he had the next highest votes. So it is the individual that had 40 documents. It was the individual that suffered the penalty. Votes don't belong to the party. They belong to an individual. And this is established by the law of the land. So take us through all of this journey, and I say it's sweet victory. I sympathize with the nation. Listen, in 2015, the same similar thing took me through 2015 up to the Supreme Court by December 9th, 2016. Shortly after, another round of campaign started for my second term. A nation that is year in, year out, elections occur, when people are hungry, extreme starvation, reducing the nation to want in body and spirit, how can I be happy? I sympathize with this nation. Let's continue to play politics with our young people. And you think it's nice.
Wow.
We have descended and have forgotten that the whole black world is watching Nigeria. We, the political class, have made a very big embarrassment of what it is to be an elite and to be somebody at high level of governance. I feel sad. I feel sad. And don't be surprised. You'll be ready. People will be getting prepared for an appeal. I have no clue how this country got to this point. No. I'm not happy.
If I could come in now, Mr. Governor, you're sticking to your theme that you established when you first defected to the ruling party, APC. You've always claimed that it was not for your own personal benefit, that it was for the benefit of the country and of the black race, that you would leave one party for another. You were saying at the time, this was about 10 months ago, that it would help for your voice to be magnified by being a part of the ruling party rather than being on the periphery, if I'm paraphrasing what you said. So how exactly in the past 10 months has that defection, which has caused this whole distraction of this court case that has been put to rest for now at least, how has it benefited the people of Cross River State, the people of Nigeria, and the black race as a whole, which you often refer to? How has your defection helped?
Dramatically, I would say not very consequential at this moment because of these side distractions. But the philosophy that underpinned my defection has remained consistent and same. One, at the time I defected, the nation was in absolute ebullioscopy, almost at a precipice, because there was continuous and several attacks on institutions of security of the nation. There was obviously a deliberate effort on my part to stand with the federal government and stand with President Muhammadu Buhari to stabilize the nation, and also to create a distraction from the tension of that moment. Coming into the government was also to add value and play a major role at the center. Cross River State is very lean. It's number 35 out of 26 in terms of federal allocation. You can't afford opposition, and you stay at the periphery with all my intellect, with all I've got, with the experience and the exposure. I couldn't add value to the federal government to see how I can actually pull us out of the challenges we had at that time. So having come into the center, just settling down to see how I can add value, you have these distractions coming. But I can mention fundamentally that certain approvals, certain supports I have received today in terms of my project approval and speed, I'm sure that would not have come if I wasn't at the center. Basically speaking, my lobby power is stronger given the circumstance today. Above all, just take a typical look at Cross River State, trying to build an airport, floating an airline, trying to float a shipping line, trying to create a logistics base, and move Cross River State from a civil service state to an industrial and business and maritime economy, creating an absolute brand new blue economy. I couldn't achieve this by just sitting back and waiting for an allocation that is not able to even pay civil servant salary. Yet I have great dreams you definitely, if I love my people, I definitely have no business playing opposition. I have to be at the center to see what I can attract to my people at the periphery.
Okay, please, can I ask you this? Was there at any point any case of division that necessitated your defection? Any point at all?
Essentially, there is no party that is idiot-proof. There are always continuous differences that creates this division. If you recall, in 2015, my first term as governor, where my opponent took me all the way to the Supreme Court. PDP, which is at that then my party, changed my lawyer at the Supreme Court level without my knowledge. The lawyer who is supposed to be representing me replaced him and brought somebody who came to court to ask that the appeal against me should stand. Nobody imagined that I would still be in that party at the close of 2015. After winning from Supreme Court, one would have thought that the betrayal on the part of PDP on me was too much. But I'm a professor. I cannot dismiss my heritage, a party that gave me opportunity to be a senator and governor and take a walk on the account of one injury. But that's not the basis for my discussion today. I really want to talk about Nigeria, the black man, and the shame that has characterized our political style today.
Your Excellency, I deliberately asked that question.
Yes.
That if there's any form of defection. So I put it to you, it's either your state party chairman of the APC is lying here, because he said, while he was trying to make an argument for your defection, he said his words when he came here. He said it was because of the division in the APC, that is why you defected. And I went further to say 10 months ago when we spoke, you said it was because of the betterment of Nigeria and you wanted to work with President Muhammadu Buhari. That's why you defected. But your party chairman came to say another thing entirely and cited the defection. Who should we believe here?
Well, first, your use of the word lie is inappropriate in a public discourse because he may have a different perception of circumstance. So the word lie is too strong in public discussion. He had a completely different view, and his view is also correct. I had a reason why I had to leave. I left because I needed to support the president at the center. It doesn't stop us from having some small essential challenges that I find not essentially important. But at his level, he may have also seen that as essentially important to him. So I think the perception is completely, we're looking at it from a different side, but his views are right, my views are very correct. So he didn't lie at all, because especially if you look at the issues of defection, and whether there was a division. How do you establish division? There was a division because we had several court cases between Cross River State, the congresses, and a whole lot of things. So in his own view, those ones were strong enough for him to see them as issues calling for defection. But for me, those ones were petty. I've been contending with them. That's why I told you, way back in 2015, I had even a stronger issue that ought to have made me to leave the party. But I cannot leave the party for anybody else. I left the party because I thought that I was wasting my energy and time in a state that was very stranded financially. I needed to socket to the center to struggle to complete great dreams. I have the biggest pharmaceutical factory. I'm building a 148-kilometer dual carriage road, the biggest project ever done by any governor in Nigeria. I have built the biggest continuous teachers training institute. It's fully operational and just waiting to be commissioned. I have built Abuja German Hospital, which is the most sophisticated hospital ever built by a government. These are very private, big projects that I need their finalization with the support of the center. And I have big projects that requires federal government facilitation and approval, like the Bakassi Deep Sea Port, the superhighway itself. If you go to the superhighway, we have finished the debushing, the route sorting out, we have finished the survey, we have completed the design, we have done the whole debushing and established the route. If you're coming in from Calabar, before you get to Dukpadi Bridge, you see that the stone-based work, the sub-base have been completed and on its way to Benue State, which is the border to northern Nigeria. These things can be completed with the efforts of just be struggling at Calabar. Don't forget, any governor whose ambition can be accomplished within his lifetime, within the tenure of his office, the ambition was not big enough. I rather dream very big and miss than think small and hit. So if that big ambition required me to expand beyond the provisions of Cross River State. And that's why I needed to socket to the center. I am not doing politics because if you look at my political slogan, politics with ethics, I don't do politics for the sake of winning. I do politics to bring densification and ultimate value and beneficiation to my people. And where I see that the state is not giving me the sufficient freedom of power to express my intellect and my capacity, I need to leverage with the federal government. By so doing, partner with President Buhari, who showed me so much kindness by making Cross River State the first state for him to visit. I was in PDP, he is in APC. I am Christian, he's Muslim, and Southerner, he's Northerner, and he chose Cross River as his first working visit. I also owe him respect in perpetuity for that attitude. So there was no hesitation in my mind to move and join APC. And I have no regrets, whatever the consequences are therefrom. I have no regrets because I did it by conviction that I will bring value to my people, which is why they elected me.
Okay, Professor Ayade, point well made, but two quick things. What happens when, as we all know, President Muhammadu Buhari is going to leave Aso Villa by May next year? And I don't imagine that you are going to abandon politics because of that. I assume that you want to remain in politics. So President Buhari, who is the leader of the ruling party, who is your main target, you want to work with him to bring benefits to your people. Okay, if he leaves, if his party loses the election, and the president of the candidate of another party becomes president of Nigeria, are you going to again leave the APC and go to that other party and put up the same argument that it's better to be in the mainstream to defend the interests of your people? That's the first question. The second question, we're told that the APC spokesperson in Cross River State issued a statement saying that all persons, political appointees who are interested in political offices ahead of the 2023 election should resign with immediate effect their positions. I was surprised that it was the party issuing this statement, but there has been no objection from your office. Is this a tacit acceptance of the fact that Section 84, Subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022 is something that you align with, different from the position of the President and the Attorney General of the Federation?
Well, first, the party caucus will meet next week to review the issues. There's a court judgment at this moment, and the Electoral Act has made a provision. This conflict will be resolved at the caucus level. As you are well aware, I've been a little distracted following up on this, my court case. Now we're going to go back as a party. The caucus will convene and actually take a position. The party order asking people to resign consistent with the provisions of the electoral law as it is today is not out of place. But we're also aware that there's a court decision. So I say quickly we are going to resolve that. As to whether I am following President Muhammadu Buhari or I'm following the center, I'm following a ruling party. This is a third world. This is third world politics. In third world, we don't fundamentally have differences in philosophy or ideology, whether it's PDP or it's APC. Both of them one and the same thing. Today, the man who is the national chairman of PDP was a former APC person. Today, somebody who is the national chairman of APC was a former PDP person. Ideologically, philosophically, in terms of perception and foresight, in terms of targets and challenges, essentially we're a third world economy, sluggish, atavistic, and backward, struggling to eke into a second world and into a first world. So infrastructure, hunger, poverty besets us as a people. So there is really no change. What is fundamental is for you to stay at the dynamics that can bring absolute value to your country and your race. That's that. However, if the president is leaving, we have the fundamental belief that somebody who has capacity in terms of intellect, in terms of experience, in terms of capacity to deliver value to Nigeria and pull us from the challenges we have today, is the person we will support. And in so doing, I find myself particularly suitable and competent to do same. So I am not closing my doors. Neither am I saying in excitement that I'm really interested, because I have seen that the political game does not allow you to manifest your best. The distractions, the challenges, they are so huge. The budget provision is so narrow. It's almost impossible for you to deliver on your commitments. And so you definitely need to be at the center. But to be at the center against my philosophy, against my ethics, no. If I find, which is impossible, if I find that our party cannot produce the presidency, which is impossible because I know that the party is doing well. We came out of the convention that nobody imagined that APC will, and we came out smoothly. We're getting stronger. We have a national chairman who is consistent, focused, experienced, and seasoned. So how are we going to lose the way? I don't give that a chance.
Well, Prof,
I don't give it a chance,
Prof,
except God, and only God we can submit totally to.
Prof,
So, but this country requires, I just give you a sad example. We have 42 billion tons deposit of bitumen. Almost every drop of bitumen in this country is imported. You have over 3 million tons of iron ore lying prostrate. We have multi-trillion dollars worth of tantalite, coltan, lying prostrate. All that is required is to get the Bakassi Deep Sea Port connected by the superhighway into northern Nigeria for the full extraction of these tantalite deposits. But here we are. So essentially, somebody who has had a background in business, a background in private sector, the legislature and executive, a two-term governor, a senator, a private businessman, an oil and gas consultant. I've got all the experience put together to actually drive success. If we take security as a case, which I think I would like to come back to you one day for us to discuss security of Nigeria, I can tell you the history, the ontology, where we are, the challenges, and the solution. And you will imagine that I have a true and proper grasp of this country. I have also developed a master plan for this country in terms of the road network, in terms of power, in terms of energy, in terms of infrastructure. The master plan has been developed in my personal working documents. I think I may be too passionate, and that's why I think at family level we have agreed that perhaps I don't need to go further. The level of passion, if you go to my state and see the amount of projects that I have accomplished, you can't believe it, and you don't see them on television, because as a consultant, we don't believe in over-marketing ourselves. Come and visit me. In fact, I'm giving you an official invitation. Let Arise TV come to Calabar and give me a guided tour, and you see the magic. The Obudu International Airport will be ready by October, December this year.
Well,
nobody ever gave me a chance that we can build an airport, given our income.
Well, Prof,
apart from Cali Air, we have 2 aircrafts that are actually flying in Nigeria today, courtesy of my intellectual money. Well, so I think I'm really equipped to actually bring value to this country.
Well, Prof, coming to Calabar for me will be like homecoming, because my early adolescent years were spent in Calabar at the University of Calabar.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but quickly, when you were talking about...
And I know you made a first class, so I know you're a very brilliant one.
That was many years ago. But I was going to ask you, when you were talking about third world politics and its peculiarity, are you justifying the fact that third world politics is all about hypocrisy and opportunism and anything goes as long as your objective is served?
Yes, you're absolutely correct, and worse. It is also African politics and the third world country. Decisions are taken from the stomach. What do I do to bring this man down? How do I do to condemn his project so that he doesn't do well, so that my party can win him? You can imagine that I'm doing a superhighway and I get petitions against a road project by cross-invariants because they are in the other party, just to discredit the project. Meanwhile, you have our reverend sisters, young people traveling on that road to go for exams, die on that road because the road is so horrible. Today, I have done the dualization of Calabar-Otupani Road. Nobody talks about it, yet people used to sleep in that place. So that cannibalistic kind of politics, where it's so atavistic and destructive, is so diminutive in terms of value, ethics and morality is completely destroyed on the altar of politics. Jesus Christ. I have never seen that. You have never seen that I've taken anybody to court. I've never been involved in this kind of criminal fight. Just let the person have it. Just go. Just go. Take it and go. This life that we die and live. Why are politicians so... The amount of energy exhausted in destruction is just too much. Why don't you just let peace be? And in any case, assuming you decide that defection is illegal, is criminal, and you get sacked, give me another 3-4 rounds of election. This country will be a one-party country. Because the level of domestic internal tyranny you find in parties is so unacceptable. The only thing is that people now have a bypass that when I feel unfairly treated in my party, I can move to another party. If you block that chance, if you block that possibility, everybody will stay with the ruling party until there will be no opposition anymore. And that is not good for our politics as well.
Right, let's talk about the economy of Cross River. Cross River is one of those states that failed to attract any foreign investment in 2021. And a lot of your famed 38 projects have been described as essentially white elephant projects. Can you give us some more, insight into, for example, the superhighway project? What's the status of that? And your garment factory, are you wearing fabric from your garment factory as you promised to do? There's also the Bakassi housing project, which has been described now as a ghost town. Can we have some updates on those projects of yours?
Well, sometimes you journalists, you just speak inside your studio without having exposure. Sometimes it's good to take a walk because it's easy to just throw questions without even doing a research. If you have done a research, you would have known that Bakassi as a town was already a ghost town occasioned by the fact that there was heavy militancy way back in 2002 when it was seeded. What I did was to build a brand new town and did a provision for social housing to rehabilitate and restore people. With a new local government chairman who has come in place, he has done so much to revitalize the place. So please try and visit before you make statements. Number 2, am I wearing the fabric from Cross River State Garment? Cross River State Garment Factory sews garment. What I'm wearing was made by Cross River Garment Factory. They don't produce the fabrics because the cotton farm are not in place yet. We combined and did a partnership with Ariwa Textiles. And when we did that, our hope was to be able to grow cotton and convert the cotton to fabric and from fabric to fashion. So F3. But the cost of setting up the fabric line requires amount of energy which is not available in the Yala local government where we have the right arable land for cotton cultivation. The energy demand coefficient is too high. And so it is unrealistic for me to invest in a factory that I can't support. But if you go to same Cross River State and you see the feed mill fully operational, you see Kalachika producing chicken, you'll be surprised the amount of value chain, 800 cooperatives that feed the Kalachika with poultry every week. And we can't even meet demand. The factories are there for you to see. If you go to Bekwara in Yala local government area, in the Bekwara local government area, you will see the vegetable oil factory. That is the granola headquarters of Cross River State. And that's where that factory is. The rice mill in Ogoja, perfectly ready, just waiting for the presidential commissioning. But you need about 4 billion naira to just have the initial amount of paddy required to start operation. I have built all these factories, but it requires a private sector to actually bring it to life. This is how third worlds develop. And we don't learn from Asia. Most companies that come from China to are state-owned companies. In Nigeria, they say government has no business with business. Who has the private sector economy to be able to build the pharmaceutical factory that I've built, the garment factory that I've built, the feed mill, the noodle factory, Kalachika, the rice seed and seedling factory, the vegetable oil, the cocoa processing plant, the rice mill, the toothpick factory, the cassava processing factory in Obubra? Whose private sector can do that? In Cross River today, if you check 2 days ago in the Nation newspaper, you see that I've advertised all of these factories for concession. You don't even find people applying because there is no money in the private sector. Things are tight.
Okay.
So government has a role to catalyze into existence industries.
Okay.
But please, you as journalists, your role has to be a bit positive.
Okay.
Try and also help to market and not to just always hear from the negative side and just struggle to paint, and you are part of the problem of this country. You keep the nation under tension. You love reporting bad news. Try and also stay positive. We can't just keep any foreigner living in Nigeria would think we're in a war zone.
How about if we stay factual and you were
Why do you
asked a
enjoy bad
question?
news?
If statement was not made, you were asked a question, which you have addressed. You can spare us the accusations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Governor, with all of this you have done...
That's too much.
Mr. Governor, with all of this you have done, Cross River State still has 53.4% unemployment rate, one of the highest in the country. Secondly, the second question will be, you said you've not taken anybody to court, you're a peaceful man. What happened between you and Agba Jalingo?
What? Agba Jalingo was taken to court by federal government. He was arrested in Lagos by federal government by his own post and tweets, where he showed himself participating in NSAS. And you leave that, so it had nothing to do with me at all. Nothing to do with me. So, on the issue of unemployment,
but the
are you
Agba
aware
Jalingo
that
case
Cross
was
River State
before
had an
NSAS?
embargo on unemployment? He had an embargo on employment for 35 years. I lifted the embargo. I am the one who created 5,000 jobs for teachers, 18,000 political appointees, 39 commissioners instead of 13 that I met, expanded government and put food on tables, 500 new APC appointees when I defected to APC, provided 30,000 for supplementary support service as a social service program to put food on the table. Unemployment does not disappear by legislation or policy. It's by action. And that's why those industries and factories are being built. I need your support to market them. I need you to sound positive. And I say this, you might think, I'm just feeling worried for this country. And when you listen to news, when you read newspapers, it's a sad story of a country. But we have the good side of this country as well. Let's also preach something positive. I would be very happy if you invite me on a program like this and I'd say, use the platform to market all these factories you have built so that concessionaires can come and take them and bring them to life. They are not lies. Just come there, you see these factories for yourself. Don't forget, ask yourself, what is the income of Cross River? If you know the income of Cross River, you call me a magician. But unfortunately, each time you come on the platform, people only like to go to these negative questions.
But Mr. Governor,
stay positive.
Mr. Governor, you've not answered my question.
Yes.
With due respect, with all of this you've done, the unemployment rate is still one of the highest in the country, 53.4%. What can we do about this? What have you done? Somebody would think that all this, your grand ideas, this your intellectual prowess, like you stated here, would translate into jobs for average people. What we're concerned about, and with due respect, as journalists, is the betterment of our country. And when we enunciate facts because of the betterment of our country, please, Your Excellency, Mr. Governor, let us do our job here. We deal with facts, not sentiments. The National Bureau of Statistics
and I've answered you
gave those
very
facts.
clearly. I have told you that I have built factories. Those factories are intended to create jobs. I'll give you a typical example. The rice mill in Ogoja. It requires a minimum of 240 tons of rice every day. That's the milling capacity. It means that you need to give money to farmers to grow rice. The factory itself will create jobs, but the downstream jobs that come associated with that rice mill is so huge. The cocoa processing factory that have completed the income needs to create jobs. 30,000 people have been earmarked by an Israeli company to finance them to own cocoa plantations in a neighborhood of 3 to 5 hectares per farmer. These are all job creation programs, but the factory itself has to run to serve as a major off-taker for the cocoa. Now, for you to have that cocoa to run, because when you say 53% unemployment, the only way you can take down that unemployment is to create jobs. That is why you have to set up factories. That is why I had to expand government. That is why I had to employ people in water board. I had to employ people in the teachers in suburb. That's why I had to increase the number of people into the civil service. That's why I had to expand political appointments. So I don't want to question your statistics, but what I would have been more comfortable, how were the number of people employed in Cross River before I came into office and now that in office? You would have seen the thousands of people today that have an income occasioned by my...
Well, Governor Ayade,
You needed to see Calabar yesterday when I won the election.
Governor Ayade.
When I won the court issue.
Governor
You needed to
Ayade.
see the joy in the air. So
Governor-
I think it's gradual. If we get there,
Well, we get that point, Governor Ayade. We have just about 3 minutes to go. Quickly, I would like to ask you, is the fashion these days for every governor to want to run for president on whatever platform? Are you also going to declare very soon? And secondly, you talked about the blueprint you have for security in Nigeria. Within these few minutes that we have left, if you could just share with us your ideas about what Nigerians can do with regard to insecurity, which is #1 problem in Nigeria today after the economy. We have just about 3 minutes to go.
well, first, I'll be very brief. For the kind of security challenges we have, 3 minutes would be inadequate to give it a proper address. So I'd like you to take me on another day completely to deal with the issue of insecurity. And then I will give you a full exposé on what I know as a problem, starting from Boko Haram to ISWAP to ISIS to Al-Qaeda, the linkages, and of course Afghanistanism as a theory and the collapse of Afghanistan and the associated cumulative impact on Nigeria, the issue of conflicts in terms of the different sects of Muslims and how it affects the philosophy of ISWAP and what needs to be done, and Nigerians' preparedness to use a digital warfare as an alternative to contact warfare in dealing with these issues. But 3 minutes is completely inadequate. But please, take me on that security of this country on another day.
Yeah, are you planning to run for president? Yeah, because everybody knows.
It is a function of the party. Yeah, it is a function of the party ideology. If the party believes in quality and value, it believes in doing a critical appraisal of every governor, what his total revenue in his period has been versus what he has achieved, a critical assessment to establish whether this is a credible candidate worthy of being presented as a candidate of the party. If we go by that method, yes. If we go by zoning and the zoning does not favor me, no way. If it favors me, yes. But I'm not ready to throw myself up there to run for a president when the country is not prepared for an improvement. For truly, to just let somebody free to actually see how we can change this country. If not, I just retire home and sit
Well,
back.
on that note, thank you very much, Professor Ben Ayade, Governor of Cross River State, for joining us on The Morning Show.